Hey, everybody. How are you? I'm so glad that you joined in. And tonight, I just wanted to speak from my heart to all of my church girls, CEOs. Oh my gosh. Y'all, when I tell you this has been a trying 2 weeks, how many of you can relate to me about how it's been a crazy week for you? Well, really, the last 2 weeks have been really crazy. And so I just wanted to come on tonight and I just wanted to chat with everybody to just see how you're doing. I see somebody that came in. You said you're amazing. Could you tell me who you are? So I'm so glad that you are amazing. Y'all, today, this week has been so trying. I felt like that I was gonna I don't know. I felt like I was at all my wits end. I felt like I couldn't get anything accomplished. Felt like I couldn't go anywhere. I felt like I couldn't say anything. Hey, Madonna. Yes, and I know you can relate. Y'all, it has been this week. I really felt like I was done. I felt like, why am I even doing this? Why am I even calling myself a church girl CEO? I felt like I couldn't hear from God. I felt like I couldn't pray. I felt like it just got really, and I can't say overwhelming, but well, I guess I could say that. But it's just been something going on all the time. And then it just dropped in my spirit that if I'm going through this, then somebody else is going through this. And I said, God, usually the way God uses me is that I always go through things, and then when I share, somebody else has gone through it, because I'm built as an encourager. I'm built as a motivator. I'm built as somebody that has a heart for people. And the biggest thing is that I have a heart for women in ministry. And when I say that, so many times people get so confused when I say, well, no, not confused. They misunderstand what I mean when I say women in ministry. When I say women in ministry, I mean women that work in every aspect of ministry, not just women that are ministers or preachers, apostles that have those prophets. I'm talking about the one that works in the parking lot, the one that cleans the church, the one that works in children's church. That is a woman in ministry. Any facet of ministry that you work in, that is who I am talking to. So today, I just want to share some things, even down to my business. I was going through some stuff, and it was like I had gotten a challenge, and I promise you, I was like, okay, I can do this. And I felt like nobody was listening to me. I felt like Facebook was trying to, just stop me from being great. I didn't even know what was going on. Hey, Tina, thank God for your heart. Oh my God, yes, indeed. It's like when you are operating in ministry and and it's like, okay, I'm gonna just be real. I know what God has called me to do. I know what God has showed me to do. But it started to feel like I started to question myself. Did I hear from you for real? Did you really tell me this? And it's like, I know if you can relate to that, I mean, just say, hey, I can relate, because I know I wasn't the only one. It's like I feel like I'm going through this season of God is showing me how to do things. God is showing me what to do. God is even giving me that vision or that little peep of where I'm going in my future. But it feels like, okay, this is too much going on. Yes, I see things are working out, but what you told me and what I'm seeing don't tend to add up. I mean, if you can relate, raise your hand, holler at your girl, give me some hearts, tell me something, because I know that I'm not the only one. And so when I started to think about this, I was on a project, and they were like, who do you relate to in the Bible? And then that whole story came up, and I said, you know what? I know that I relate to Deborah and Lydia. Deborah, not just because that's my name, but because that Deborah was a judge. Deborah was the one that gave advice. Deborah was an encourager, because if it wasn't for Deborah, Barak would never have gone into war and won, because she told him, if you don't go, you don't want a woman to go. So that tells me she was a fighter as well. She was also a wife. So she knew how to handle her business. She knew how in my mind, she was balanced. And then I always think about Lydia. Lydia was a seller of purple. Lydia had her own ministry. Lydia had her own money. Lydia's name is in the Bible. And if those of you that know, a lot of women that had miracles and did things in the Bible, their names were not mentioned. At a prime example, the woman with the issue of blood, the woman at the well. You see where I'm going? Big things happened to them, but their names were never mentioned. But Lydia was really known for her product and services. And that's where I was like, God is dealing with me, because it's like, when you are in business and you are trying to put out a good quality product, it's like you hustling, you trying to make sure that everything is right, everything look good, everything sound good. And then you see somebody else put out something, you like, rrr. So today I just want to come on and just tell you that. And that's the other thing. When I started looking at Deborah and Lydia, they never procrastinated about what they did. When they made their mind up, they just did it. When they said they were going to do something, they did it. So that's another piece. I know those of you that have been following me, you have been seeing my posts that, thank you, Madonna. Yes. I hope this is still Madonna. Exactly. They didn't procrastinate. They just got up and they did it. And that's where we are, Church Girl CEOs. We have got to stop procrastinating and stop listening to those voices in our head that makes that even when we start to question and doubt, we still have to operate in what God has called us to do and where we are supposed to serve. Not everybody, this is the biggest one. I can't do that because somebody else is doing it. That might be true, but your flavor is not going to be their flavor. Just because everybody likes chocolate ice cream, don't you know the different flavors of chocolate ice cream? It's still ice cream. It's still chocolate, but some people like dark chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate, chocolate with swirls, chocolate with caramel on top. So the thing is that you have got to find your flavor. You have got to be ready to start doing what God has called you to do. Amen. Thank you, Cynthia. You have got to start looking at what is going on and stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Because when God calls you to the forefront, and a lot of women that I have worked with, I know, and especially the ones that I know personally, I know how you serve. I know who you serve, and I know how you have served. You have been diligent. You have been dependable. You have been the one that supported everybody. And now it's time for you to get out and do you, because you have been the cheerleader and the supporter for so long that you don't even know what it feels like to be up front. And then when you are up front, you don't even know how to take a compliment. You sitting up there talking about, well, Lord, who me? We have got to stop it. Women, y'all, Church Girl CEOs, it's time for us to band together. It's time for us to start taking our rightful place in front of who we have to be in front of. Because y'all, one of my favorite scriptures is Proverbs 18:16. Your gift shall make room for you and bring you in front of great people and put you at the table and put you to where you were supposed to be. Amen. Thank you, Cynthia. Tina said, postpone doesn't mean you are not prone to success. Exactly. And so many times we think because it was postponed and everybody else got ahead of us that we didn't know that we would never get our time. Guys, I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 22, 52, 62, 72, 102. When God says it's your time, it is your time. And thank you, Madonna. I knew I was talking to somebody, because we have got to, because I know I've been there. I know that I have been the one that's serving. But again, when we start looking at Proverbs 18:16, you have got to realize that you have a gift. When you have a gift, you have a calling. And when you have a calling, you are supposed to use it. Now, again, just because somebody calls you on the phone, if your phone rings, you get a choice of whether you answer or not. But when God calls you, it's best you do answer, because you don't know what's happening on the other side of that call. Because that call is the call that's going to help catapult you to the next level. That call is the call that shifts you into where you're supposed to be in your destiny and in your destiny while you're walking on this road, y'all. We have got to start thinking about that, our purpose. We got to start walking in our purpose, so we can get to our destiny fully charged and fully acknowledged of who we are. We have got to start thinking about that from a different perspective. And I guess you're thinking, how did you get there? Why do you feel this way? Y'all, it didn't, trust and believe, it didn't happen overnight. No. I was one because I played mind games with myself. And it wasn't because I was just like listening to voices. It was because as a child, when I was growing up, people said things and they thought and I was really introverted, but I had extrovert tendencies. So I'm the kid that you misread. I'm the one that can go in the room and read and stay to myself and do what I need to do. But because I was that kid, people would say things to me, and because I didn't react in a certain way, yes, I'm passive aggressive. Because I didn't act up, I didn't cuss them out, I didn't fight, I didn't do nothing. I just kind of was like, you know what? You say what you want. I ain't got to fool with you. I'm moving on. I'm doing me. But what happened is that I was still internalizing those negative things that people had said to me. So I would always second guess everything that I would do, or think or feel that I wasn't good enough to be successful. I would always think that, I can't be in front of the camera. I can't talk on TV. I can't have a radio show. I can't do this. I can't do that because I'm not going to be accepted because of the way that I look or the way that I talk. Or I might have been anything. But everything that I sought God for, when I look back, I accomplished it. But because I didn't look at it as an accomplishment, I didn't do anything. Wow, misread. Yes. I was always that person, but then I started thinking about, old school church would always say that people hate on you, people treat you a certain way because they see the anointing on you. I was like, they might see the anointing, but I don't see nothing. So when that light came on is when I went through this really dark place. I mean, when I tell you it was dark, I cried. I made bad decisions. I lost stuff. I lost my job. I know a lot of you have heard that story and heard my testimony. But it's like when I went through that, that's when God started. That's when I really started to pray and I really started to listen from God. So what I was experiencing those last 2 weeks, and I didn't even want to talk about it. I didn't even want to share anything, but it forced me to get to a position to where I had to ask for help. I had to ask for something from someone that I wouldn't normally ask for, because I'm the type of person, if long as my lights on, my gas paid, car note paid, insurance paid, I got everything, all of my necessities, I'm not asking you for help. I'm not asking nobody to bail me out, because everybody know if I call and ask you for anything, you already know back is up against the wall, stuff is going haywire. Yes, blind to ourselves, can't see what's inside us. Yes, indeed. And when you get blind to yourself, when you don't have other people encouraging you that you can make it to that next level. So Church Girls CEOs, tonight, as I am sharing my heart with you and how I feel, I want to share with you that I support you. I love you. It is your time. It is your season for you to take it to the next level. You have been called and destined for this. You have been called to go to the next level. You have been called to speak words into people that they never thought that you would even speak. You are on that road, and it's time for you to stand up and stop being the crossing guard and start walking across the street yourself. You're so busy directing people that now it's time for you to take that leap. It's time for you to take your marching orders. Great song. You can have me on a mountain or in a valley, or our faith stay strong. Yes, indeed, Jenny. Then so true. Thank you guys. Amen. Because y'all, we have been support so much that we have got to learn how to now sow into ourselves. I'm talking to the real Church Girl CEOs. You have sold into everybody and everything. It is time for you to sow into yourself. It is time for you to take that leap. Some of you are saying, I don't need a coach. I'm not getting a coach. I'm not doing this. And no, this is not a sales call. I'm not telling you that. What I'm saying is it's time for you to invest in yourself so you can take your business to the next level. Stop sitting back on the sidelines thinking that you can do it all yourself. It's okay to ask for help. I can have people tell me I can do things, but I often can't see past my current career. Exactly. And guess what? Your current career might be leading to where you're supposed to be going next. I know when I did my spiritual gifts assessment, I score high as a teacher. My profession, I'm an educator. My side, what I'm now trying to go to full time, I'm coaching. It's still education. I'm still sharing with people what I have learned. That's what you have to do. That's right, Tina. Thank you for agreement. If you want to walk on water, you've got to get, girl, you preaching, Jenny. Get up out of here, baby. Because when I tell you, it is time for you to take on the persona of Peter. If you are a church girl CEO, y'all, I'm going through a class right now talking about water walkers. If you are a church girl CEO, it's time for you to stop sitting in the boat, because guess what? That boat was in a storm and they could have turned around and went somewhere else. Peter didn't have to get off the boat and say, can he walk on water? Because you know what? Destiny had to be fulfilled. Because if they had turned around, they never would have got to the other side. If they had turned around, Jesus and Peter could have never got back on the boat. If they had turned around, Peter wouldn't have got off the boat, asked Jesus to walk on the water, and then we would never have seen what faith really looks like, because Peter was a fisherman. Peter knew how to fish. Peter knew how to swim. So being in water was nothing. Being in a boat in a storm is nothing to him, because that's what he's used to. So now it's time for you. You're used to having to deal with your children. You're used to dealing with your husband. You're just used to dealing with your job. It's time now for you to ask Jesus, can I come to you? Because now you're saying, can I start my business? I know my business is time for me. I know it's time for me to write the book. I know it's time for me to record the CD. I know it's time for me to do a virtual concert. I know it's time for me to do a virtual book launch. I know it's time for me to get up and start doing what I've been called to do, because it is your time. It is your season. Absolutely. Invest in yourself. Yes. Nurture me. Yes. My toughest thing is time. And you know what? Time is an obstacle, guys. Time is an obstacle. Time is something, y'all, we get 24 hours every day. You got to figure out and start putting things in perspective and start figuring out how to manage your time. I'm getting ready to share a book with you that I didn't write. Juggling Elephants helped me get my time schedule together. And yes, Jenny, that boat is our comfort zone. As long as you in that boat, you're not getting ready to really experience anything. It's time for you to get out the boat. It's time. Your blessing is getting out. Because think about what Peter did. When he asked Jesus, first of all, he said, Master, is that you? He questioned it. So that tells you when God drops something in your spirit, you're supposed to say, God, is that you? Think about that. If it is you, let me walk to you. If it is time for me to write the book, if it is time for me to start the business, if it is time for me to start anything, let me get it. No matter what the situation looks like, because vision without provision is not going to happen. Have you written your vision? Habakkuk 2:2. Have y'all written your vision and made it plain? And let's go ahead and take it to 3 and told somebody so they could run with it. So now it's time for you to get that vision out of your head, out of that board that you got that's collecting dust, and start sharing it with people so they can help you take it to the next level. Again, invest in yourself. Don't stay in your career until God takes your career and force you to do it. This pandemic is a force move for all of us. Baby, if you ain't never lied, because this pandemic, okay, let me just go ahead and be real honest and clear. I have done things in this pandemic that I would have never done if we weren't. I picked up and moved across country. Who does that in the middle of a pandemic? But then when I started to look around and I started to look at the people that I'm associated with, I have 3 other colleagues that I am associated with on different levels have did the same thing. They have picked up and moved across country to open their businesses and to do different things because that is what God called them to do. And this is in different areas. And so I said, okay, God, this is what you called me to do, because I thought about it. If I was still in my other house, I wouldn't have taken the time to do what I have been doing. You would not have. I've been caught up doing everything for everybody or doing something and not being where I needed to be still. So that's something that you have to look at. God could be shifting you. Not he ain't. No, it's not he may be. God is shifting you. Y'all, this is the time of the shift. And so when we come on the other side of this, what are you going to do? Who are you going to be? Because you're going to have to start doing your preparation now. But Peter was still afraid, but he set that aside. Exactly. And Peter shows us that you have to do things afraid. And you know what? I'm not going to really say Peter was afraid. I'm going to say that Peter was uneasy, because at first he said, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to walk. He was walking. And I'm in my mind, I feel like he was walking and a good wind came through and he kind of swayed. So you know how we do, we kind of sway when we get a little trouble. And that's when he started to sink. And that's when he had to reach up his hands and say, Jesus, help me. But think about this. He had walked far enough that Jesus was close enough to pull him back up. So when you think about that, it's like that little extra push that's coming to distract you. That ain't nothing but the devil trying to get into your mind to tell you that you just distract you off of the focus that you had, because Jesus said, come to him. And so now you got to think about those distractions. You got to block them. You got to block the distractions. You got to be able to say that I'm just going to keep my mind. And if you do get distracted, if you do fall, you still know who to call on to rise you up. He had to stay focused on God's plan. Most definitely. He got distracted. Yes, I believe that in my heart. Pandemic says sink or swim. Do you really believe? Exactly. Because in this pandemic, y'all, you ain't got no choice. You got to do it. And just like we do, we get distracted by self-doubt. Most definitely. And self-doubt is the killer of everything. And I know I posted it and I know you've seen it. I said that procrastination is fueled by, oh, y'all, I don't want to say it wrong because I'm getting excited. Y'all just got me all over the place, because I'm on here longer than I plan to be. God knows I am. Y'all know I got notes everywhere. See, I'm one of them. I write stuff down. I'm old school. I don't type nothing. But when we give into procrastination, when we give into, when we give into distractions, which procrastination is. Oh, and we give into excuses. That's the other thing. Excuses feed procrastination, and procrastination is the killer of your success. I'm going to repeat that. Excuses feed procrastination, and procrastination is the killer of your success. And if you want to make it personal, you would say excuses feed procrastination. Procrastination is the killer of my success, which means it's time out for waiting around to do anything. Because fear is the dark room in which only negatives develop. What ruins those negatives is light, most definitely. And fear, that's one of those things that we use as an excuse, because fear is the evidence of things, of objects appearing real. So when you start feeling that fear, start speaking to that fear. Fear, you will not hinder me. Fear, you will not distract me. I am not afraid, because God has not given me the spirit of fear, but of love and a sound mind. Because if God has not given you the spirit of fear, then we should not do it. And then if you are in fear, you're still supposed to operate in it, because again, it is a distraction. And we cannot be distracted in this season. We have got to be ready to walk and do what God has called us to do. We cannot operate in the realm of fear. We cannot operate in the realm of I can't, or the shoulda, coulda, woulda, maybe, coulda, shoulda, kind of, sorta. But tonight, I want to share with you some more and some more. But I need you to really pray about it. No, you know what? If you're watching me, you already know that I'm sharing my heart to you, and it's time for us to chat. I want you to give me the opportunity to help you to tell your story. So many of you also have such a story of ministry and deliverance, and have a story of what you have gone through and what you have experienced, but you have been afraid to share it. Whether it's shame or fear, feeling like how can I say this? You don't know how to write. You don't know how to use the right words. You don't know how to, because that was my fear as well. You thinking that nobody's going to read my book. Nobody's going to help me out. Nobody's going to do anything. I challenge you tonight to schedule a time for us to talk. Because guess what? It's time for us to chat. Thank you, Tina. I'm trying to push y'all, baby, because I'm also going to put the link in the comments. Because guys, it's time for us to chat. We need to chat, because and I know that God has called you for at such a time as this. And working with Church Girl CEO, and the thing is, even if it's something that we can't help you with, we know other Church Girl CEOs who you can trust. And now I'm getting ready to tell you what your biggest fear is. Your biggest fear is that you've worked with people before, they've taken your money, and they did not produce. That's fear number one. Fear number two, you are already active in the church. You are a leader in the church, and it's hard for you to trust people with your story because you don't know how they're going to handle it. This is where we are a safe haven for you, because we have been there. My team has been there. My team are people that have worked in ministry, and they understand church hurt. They understand being afraid to share something. But guys, this is your time to help someone else get delivered. Because think about it. If somebody had told you just a little bit of what you have gone through, would it have made it even easier? Would it have made it for you to just be able to cross over just a little bit? And I know some people that might be watching this, they might even be first ladies. They might even be the pastors. And I get that, because you feel like you can't share certain things. No, I get it. I get it, because I'm a Church Girl CEO. I am active in ministry. I am on the ministerial staff. So I know about the junk that goes on. Yeah, I'm there. And I have been a part of large ministries, mega churches. And I'm not going to even share that, because at this point, I don't care if you're in the mega church or the storefront church. I understand what you are going through. So now is your time to make your step to proclaim who God has called you to be and share your story with the world, because somebody needs to be delivered and set free. And you would be amazed at how telling your story even gives you extra healing. It gives you an extra voice to stand with, because just like the woman with the issue of blood, she didn't want to tell nobody, but Jesus kept saying, "Who touched me?" Because I felt the power come out. First of all, that's a lot of power that you felt somebody touch the hem of your garment and she was healed. She had to tell somebody, because Jesus wasn't going to let it go until she said it was me. The woman at the well had been sleeping with all these women. She was operating in shame. The women had shunned her, because think about it. Women had shunned her, but guess who Jesus went to talk to? He didn't talk to the women that shunned her. He talked to the one that he needed to give the living water to. Think about, your story could be that living water for somebody else. Your story could be that healing virtue that has got to be released in order for somebody else to get healed. So again, you have got to release your fears. You have got to release your procrastination. You have got to release all of these excuses. It is time for you to be like Peter. Step out on faith. Walk on water. because I am here for you, to listen to you, to help you and guide you to your next step in this journey and telling your story. Because again, Church Girl CEOs, it's time for us to unite. Follow the link, holla at your girl, and most of all, let's talk. All right, y'all. I have been on here way longer than I planned. If you're watching the replay, drop hashtag replay so I can know that you're here. If you just logging in, you got to go back and watch the replay. And please share with your friends. Share with everybody, because we are live on Facebook, and YouTube and Periscope. So, hey, everybody, thank y'all for joining in and just listening in, because God is getting ready to do something great and fantastic in your life. All right, y'all. Love you to life. Have a good one. Peace.